everyone, welcome back to another CAPS video. I'm your host, Ariba, and today we have joined a UTM student, Zoya. Zoya, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yep. Hi, everyone. My name is Zoya. I'm in my second year at UTM in the Biology for Health Science and hopefully neuroscience program soon.
All right, and you're studying virtually right now, am I right?
Yes.
How has that been going for you?
So it was fun at the beginning because we had a bit more time with not having to commute every day and just getting to stay home and waking up at our own time, which was fun. But then eventually when the prof started piling us up with more assignments, it did get challenging. But I feel like there's pros and cons to virtual studying. So it was fun. It's a bit better than going on campus, but then again, when you're on campus, you can have so many more accesses to different resources. So
Mhm.
I enjoy it to some extent, but there's definitely things I miss on campus too.
Right, yeah. There's definitely pros and cons to both types of learning, you're right. So, how is UTM? There's a certain image that people associate with UTM. How do you think you would describe it?
So initially, when I was going into UTM, in grade 12, when I was planning on it, I had heard a lot about how it's really hard to get grades at UTM. Profs are very hard, and the grading system is messed up. They curve you down all the time. But
Mhm.
I can help eliminate that myth right now. It definitely university in general is hard no matter where you go, right?
Mhm.
The level changes from to a different you're more specified into a program, and it's much harder to stay in and do work. But at UTM, the benefit is that if you compare it with other universities and their grading scale, at UFT in general, there you can get a 4.0, which is the highest mark in the 4.0 scale, GPA
Right.
scale. You can get that at an 85%.
Oh,
Whereas
really?
if you go to let's say McMaster, I was comparing with some friends, they need to get a 90% to get that 4.0. So
So,
even though studying is hard, but then it's easier to get that mark at the end.
so is that specific to like your program or your department, or is that just UFT
It's to
or
the whole
UTM in general?
university,
Oh, so
to the whole
all
UFT
campuses.
university. Yes.
Okay, so why do you think this myth of like not getting high grades, why do you think that has been established?
Personally, there's two reasons. So one, there definitely are some programs that are harder, some courses specifically, is but even in between campuses. Like for instance, the UTM chemistry course in first year is much harder than the chemistry course on at the St. George campus, and that's coming from students who've taken both courses. So
Right.
that sort of imbalance does exist in some courses just because of the different profs that teach each course. But another factor is that it's very easy for everyone to get into UFT. I think the cutoff ranges for a lot of programs are 60, 70, some are 80, but that it
Mhm.
doesn't go much higher than that. So it's easy for people who are getting 70s in high school to come into the program, but then it's harder for them to balance that grade when they get into university. Because an average that people have come up with so far is that when you go from high school to university, your grades generally drop by 5% just because of the difficulty level. So if you're dropping that low, then it's harder for you to manage your grades. But then other universities, other programs, it's harder to get into them. If you compare UFT's life science program with let's say Western you need a rough 90% to get into the program, whereas UFT you need a low 80s. Because
Mhm.
more people get into UFT, it's harder for them to balance it in there. So that's my
Right.
take on it.
So would you say that it's easier to get into UFT but harder to stay in it?
Yes, definitely. But once you get through first year, then I believe first year has the highest dropout rates, but then
Mhm.
after that, the rates stabilize. So it's almost equivalent to other universities.
Right, and UFT has a certain prestige that the degree, like people take that as being really worthy. So I think
Yes,
that.
UFT is labeled number one in Canada, and I
Mhm.
believe it recently became number three in North America and
Right,
18th around the world.
right, it's recognized worldwide, so that's a really big
Yes,
pro. So
definitely.
this year you're studying virtual, but in your first year, were you living on campus or were you commuting? And what sort of thing would you like? How would you describe the campus environment?
So first year I was commuting, and like my mom, I had a car ride to the campus because it was only 10 minutes away from my house, which was like
Hmm.
the biggest one of the biggest factors that I chose this campus instead of the St. George one.
Right.
Um, Another thing is that I really like that the campus is all like enclosed in like one space. So it's all like it's just in a circle, and all the buildings are like around that circle. And so it's easier to like navigate yourself around it. And it's like really, there's a lot of greenery all around it. So it's beautiful over there. It's also, I also didn't like the idea of like having your campus spread all across the city the way it is at St. George. So
Hmm.
that was like another reason why I picked UTM, because everything is just concentrated in your own area, so you don't have to like get mixed up with other businesses around you.
Right. Yeah, that's a really big pro. And is the campus itself really like large, or is it kind of compact and people really know each other, or is it just like a huge campus
I
with
would
tons of
say,
students?
yeah, I've been to like a couple of other campuses, like the St. George one, McMaster, and Western. So the main factor is that you're from one point, from one end of the university to the like very opposite other end. It takes a maximum 10-minute walk. So that's how big your campus is. So it's
That's
not too bad.
reasonable.
A lot of classes are pretty close.
Right, yeah, that's I think that's pretty reasonable because like especially if you're transitioning from high school to university, like that
Yeah.
commute thing in between school is something that no one takes into
Yeah,
account. So that's really good.
definitely, yes. And like UFT gives you a 10-minute break in between classes. I don't know if other universities do this, but UFT gives you a 10-minute break between classes. So if a class ends at 10, your next class it has to start at 10:10. It does not start, sorry, 11:10. It does not start any sooner. So they give you that
Hmm.
10-minute like time period to grab a coffee on your way to your next class. And a lot of the times their classes are in the same building. So you don't have to worry about like going all the way across campus.
That's really great. And like the class sizes, are they really big or are they quite small?
It depends on the program that you're in. Life science in itself, our class is maxed at 500. So the biggest class we have is 500. That's for like first year chemistry, bio, and psychology. But
Hmm.
then after that, like in second year, they reduce down to like 200, maybe 300. So they have more sections or like more lecture times and smaller class sizes. And then you also have tutorials, which only have 30 people. So you do get
Okay,
to have that connection with your prof and TAs.
that's really good and very important too. As talking about the social aspect, is it easy to make friends, and are there clubs and things that you can get involved into?
Yeah, definitely. So a great thing about UFT in general is that it's very culturally diverse. There's people people coming from all over the world. Even in that like the UTM campus, I didn't think this would happen because like it's more in the city and less of like in the like Toronto is more of like the
Yeah,
international
it's
hub
more
area.
downtown. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. But like UTM has a lot of international students too. So there's a huge diversity of students over there. So it's very easy to like fit into any group you want. I used to have this notion that like, oh, there's gonna be cliques and like groups that are already made and it's very hard to fit in, but that's actually not true. It's very easy to make friends in your program and outside of your program. And everyone's just so welcoming over there, so it's very helpful. And then
That's
in terms of like extracurriculars and clubs, we have a lot. I forgot that I listed I think 50 or 100 plus clubs. And then
wow.
there's like clubs for each culture and each country. So I am a part of the PSA, which is the Pakistani Student Association. There's
Right.
also
Yeah.
like Egyptian, Iraqi, so on.
That's amazing. So you can meet people from different cultures as well, or
Yes,
similar cultures.
definitely.
That's amazing.
Definitely.
And how was your application process? Was there any supplementary applications, or was it just through OUAC?
It was just through UAC. There was no supplementary for UFT in general. I think UFT only like I think the Rotman program, the business one, has a supplementary, but a
Right.
lot of
Yeah.
other ones don't.
So, do you mind me asking about your average that
Right
you
now
applied
or
with?
in high school,
No, no, the one you applied with,
I applied with a 95.
a 95. So, do you think that if you didn't have a 95, if you had a lower average than that, do you think you would have been able to? be accepted into UTM for life sciences?
Yeah, I believe so. I think their cutoff range in my year was 85 at that time.
85.
And then
That's
yeah.
reasonable.
Yep. And like if you have higher than 90, you usually get an early acceptance from them.
Right. And does U of T, when they're looking at their applications, do they lean more towards grades, or is it more towards your involvement in the community and your extracurriculars? Which one is it?
It's more grades. So because there's no supplementary application, they don't really look at any of your extracurriculars. And to be honest, I don't know any school that I applied to that actually looked at my extracurriculars. No one ever questioned me about it, and the supplementary questions I answered for like other universities were all based on my personality more than like my extracurriculars.
Right. So since we're on the topic of applications and other universities, could you please tell us which other universities you applied to and what ultimately made you pick UTM? I know you said that the commute was one of the main reasons you picked it, but what made it be your final destination?
Right. So I applied to like a lot of the bio for health science, life science programs across Ontario. So I applied to Queen's Health Science, UFC Life Science, McMaster Health Science and Life Science, and then Western Medical Science. Oh, I also applied to Guelph Health Science. So I did not get into McMaster Health Science, but other than that, I got into all the other ones.
Hmm.
The reason why I picked UFT was again the commute, the smaller like campus size, and it's more concentrated. And UFT has a more it's more flexible in their degrees, so you could literally do two completely opposite things and still have a degree at the end for them. So McMaster, I dropped the idea of life science over there because you had a limited amount of like choices that you could take in which type of life science you wanted to do. Whereas at UFT, you could do like life science and specify in biology for health science with neuroscience. McMaster did not have these type of options over there. Western, I really liked their medical science program, and they had a couple of varieties in their specific modules that you could do, but it was because I had to move away and I did not like the weather in London. That was my personal take on it. I didn't want to like move over there for that. And then Guelph was a smaller university. I just applied there because a couple of my friends said. But because UFT was more known for like their degrees and everything, so I picked UFT for that. And again, same thing. Queens was again, it was a bit more gloomy over there, and it's farther away, so I didn't want to shift away. So those
Yeah.
were my reasons.
Yeah, those are really important factors because a lot of people they don't like to move away or live on campus and they'd rather stay at home. So it's a really big plus that we live in Mississauga where there's so many universities that are close to us. So
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
and
And a lot of people, like I know in high school, everyone is so excited to just move away and have their own life
mhm,
and like be away from their family. But you don't realize how much work it is to do by yourself. Especially like
right.
it sounds easy to like just do your laundry and eat food, but it actually isn't. Like I had to experience that for 3 weeks in high school, or like my mom and like my family went to Pakistan for a couple of days, and I was alone
Yeah.
here with like my dad, so I had to manage all of those things by myself, and I realized I can't do it, especially with like the additional university stress in first year. It's very
Yeah.
difficult to handle yourself.
Right, because you have to not only just take care of your academics, but also just your personal
Yeah,
life. You know, cooking, cleaning,
yeah.
like taking care of your
And
health.
when you don't do those things properly, your academics starts getting affected too. It
Right.
becomes
Yeah.
very stressful.
It's all interconnected. So, what about your course load? I know that you're a science student, so it's probably, no, definitely going to be way more
Mhm.
than other programs. But how much work do you get on average per week, and how do you manage your time with this online format?
Yeah. So for science specifically, if you want to like apply to medicine, it is recommended to have 5 courses each semester. So
But
I was initially given the advice that you should take 4 because it's an easier course load. But then when I looked into like postgraduate programs and medicine programs, they all recommended to take 5 courses because it shows that you're a well-balanced student. So that's one tip I would give everyone. I know you want to take it easy, but take the high road and like do those 5 courses in each semester. Make sure to like take one easy course and then keep 4 like mandatory courses. In terms of course load, it was a bit hectic in first year, especially when you had to like catch up with all your readings and listen to lectures and do your like assignments and quizzes on time.
mhm.
But one tip I would give is don't let anything pile up. And a lot of students say this, and we still make that mistake. But make sure you're at least caught up in 4 out of 5 of your courses. So that way, one course that you're lagging behind in, you can sort of catch up on it like throughout the term. But like
Mhm.
stay on task with all your all your courses in general, and don't miss lectures. With virtual learning, it's very easy to just skip a lecture and like sleep through it, or just do other
Yeah,
things and then watch a recording later. But it's very hard to sit through those recordings later because you're like dying to just skip through the thing. We need to take those notes too. So there are pros
yeah,
and cons to like doing the virtual learning again. And like with the heavy course load, it's sort of easier to do it while you're at home because you don't have to worry about commuting and like additional things that you would do on campus. It's very easy to waste time on campus, like sitting with friends and just chilling.
yeah,
But yeah, you can balance it out at some point, and definitely use organizers to like remind yourself because dates, like assignment dates, approach so fast you don't even realize it. And same thing
yeah.
with midterms. Yeah.
So how do you manage your time? Like on average for each day, do you like how many hours do you study?
Um, I sort of like keep my whole day for studying and then put in breaks in between. So I would like start off with usually my mornings have a lot of my lectures, and then some of my evenings have tutorials and labs. So in after lectures, I'll usually like take a 30-minute break and then maybe take a snack, watch something, take a break like that, walk around, and then
Mhm.
come back, start get ready for my next lecture. So that goes on to like approximately 2 p.m. After that, I don't have lectures back to back. I made sure that I planned my schedule that way because if you have back to back lectures, it's really hard to retain information that you learned from one and then quickly skip to the other one. So that's one
Right.
tip I can give people. In the evening, I definitely like I usually try to take a nap just so I can like study later on at night because that's how I work. I can't wake up early in the morning. It's just too much work for me. So
You're a night
I'm like that
person.
night owl, yeah,
Yeah.
rather
That
than an
yeah.
early bird.
That's really important
Yeah.
because like you have to know which time of the day you're the most efficient and you have the most
Mm-hmm.
energy so you can like
Yeah,
kind of
definitely.
plan your day according to that.
Yep. And
So
then I save my like reading time to nighttime. That's like when everyone has gone to sleep, so it's silent, so it's easier to read. So those are some ways you can plan yourself.
right. Do you have any tips on procrastination? Because I know that, well, even university students kind of are
Yeah,
victim to procrastination, but I'm sure you've
definitely.
learned to deal with it. So do you have
Well,
any
I think
tips?
you learn along the way, because like I still do it all the time. But
Yeah.
with procrastination, if you have like my best friend right now is my agenda, because I actually like remember everything, and I have 2 calendars in my room as well. So one has
Hmm.
all my midterm dates and one has all my assignment dates. So that's like the best way to plan yourself out. So if you're gonna procrastinate, at least leave a day before your due date to like do your work. Because assignments aren't too bad, at least up to second year. You can finish them within a day, but leave that date to like do it.
Right. And you have to make sure that the assignments are not like kind of overlapping between courses because then it sucks to find out on the day it's due that, oh, I have two assignments due today and I
Hmm.
haven't started it. So yeah,
Right, yeah,
calendars are a
definitely.
great help.
Yeah.
Are you involved in any clubs or extracurriculars inside university right now?
Yeah, I'm a part of the MSA, the Health and Wellness Club. The PSA isn't doing much right now. And same thing with the MSA, like a lot of clubs are just toned down. But
Hmm.
we still have like some events occasionally. The health and wellness ambassadors are actually working a lot this year with like presenting things online, shifting everything from like in person to online, and doing a lot of workshops on like learning and de-stressing and things like that. And then I'm a part of a couple of clubs outside of university though.
All right. So, I don't know if this applies to the science department, but in business, you have a lot of co-op and internship placements. But is there anything like that in the science department? Maybe something like study a semester abroad? Is there anything like that?
Yeah, there are studies abroad programs over here. They're called experiential learning,
Mm-hmm.
and you can usually do them in third or fourth year. But one thing I would say is, if you want to become a medical student or like dentistry as well, I think they recommend that you don't spend one of your 4 years abroad because they would rather have you like show the 4 consistent years of being in person at school and like carrying that full course load. But
So,
there's a number of like biology programs that you can do abroad at different islands.
oh, that's cool. Yeah, that would be a nice change of scenery to go to an island to
Yeah.
study medical. And
Exactly.
after university, so you're an undergrad right now. So after undergrad, you're gonna give your MCAT and then apply for medical school, or are you gonna like take a break, like a gap year?
For now, I'm planning on just going straight through it, like continuing on into grad school. But you can start giving your MCAT after second year. At least that's what I've heard. I haven't given it yet, but I know that all the MCAT information is based up till second year of university, and then
Mm-hmm.
you're eligible to give it. Then after third year, you can apply for med school. So
Oh, so
med schools require you to complete minimum 3 years, and then
mhm.
if it does not work in third year, then you can apply again in fourth year.
Right.
So that's my plan for now.
So do you have anything that you want to be like? You want to be a specialist of something? Because right now you're studying
Um,
kind of a very general, broad science
yeah,
area, medical area. And do you have any specifications that you want to go into?
I really want to go into medicine, specifically a pediatric or a neurosurgeon, because like I've developed this like new interest for like neuroscience, and it's really interesting. I really like the anatomy of it.
Hmm.
So hopefully somewhere along those lines.
Right, and it's a good thing that you pointed that out because students right now in grade 12, they're very worried that we don't know what we want to do after high school or
Mm,
even like we get into university, we don't know what we want to be like as a career.
yeah.
So it's you find your talent or your liking at any point in time. So
Mm.
right. So did you
I
have
one
any?
tip I would give is definitely do a lot of volunteering or like co-op or working in like things that you might be interested in, because you learn a lot from those. You're sort of doing like the scout work at that position, but you're still like learning a lot in what you can do in the future with that.
So did you shadow some neurosurgeons?
No, I was watching a couple of shows actually, which
Oh.
were pretty interesting. So that, and then I there is a virtual shadowing program happening in the US at UT Southwestern Hospital. So
Mhm.
they have a weekly like lectures for 2 hours with different specialists. So I think the neuroscience one is coming up soon. So I will definitely like look into a neurosurgeon's job. But emergency medicine is very interesting. Like, and I saw one of this episode of one of their lectures on that. So I found that interesting too, and I would recommend people watching that.
That's yeah, that's amazing. So lastly, is there anything fun fact you want to add about university or just your program or your experience right now?
I would just say it's gonna be stressful, so get ready for that. But other than that, it's just be ready to like face whatever, like be ready for any university that you go into. No matter what, it will be fun, but it will be stressful, and you just have to have fun while doing both. Don't
Right.
stress too much.
Don't stress too much. Yeah, it's very
Yeah,
important because any university you go to, the course load is gonna definitely be way much than high school.
yeah,
So I don't think there's any easy way out for university, right?
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Just get support systems, get friends in your program. That really helps to like stay on task.
That's
And don't
great.
cheat. If you cheat now, it's gonna screw you up for the rest of your life. Because high school you cheated, you might have gotten like suspended maybe, but
Yeah.
university you cheat and you're screwed for like your entire career.
That's a very good point. And are you guys having exams like that are proctored right now?
Yeah, some programs do have proctored exams. Our science, because they're such huge classes, they're not proctored.
You're not.
But
All right.
they're monitoring all our chats. So apparently, like this is sort of a fun fact, but some students got caught on Reddit for exchanging answers for a chemistry exam,
Oh my
and
God.
they didn't think of like going anonymous. They instead like their IP addresses were tracked by the university.
Oh
So
wow.
the university has like really strong connections in finding out. So be careful.
So they really are kind of tracking you down to the very
Yes,
last.
yes.
Wow. So it's just
I
better
think
to stay
business
away
and
from
tech
that.
classes are proctored for sure. I have a friend who was giving a computer science exam, and she's like the camera watches your eye movement the whole time. So like
Yeah.
anytime your eyes go off the screen, you're automatically kicked out of the test.
Wow, that is like imagine you have to look over for 1 second or something.
Exactly,
And
yeah. And they can't hear any sound. Like your house has to be completely silent. If they hear anything, again, you're kicked out.
wow, yeah, so that's really strict. So it's
Really
just better to
stressful.
study for the exam and just try your best.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah.
All right. So thank you so much, Zoya, for sharing your insights and sharing your experience of university life with us.
No
And
problem.
thank
You
you.
guys can always feel free to like reach back if you have any other questions.
All right. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much once again.